Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another episode of the Elder Scrolls for Oblivion. In the last episode, we got our Dark Brotherhood questline kicked off, and yeah, we already got into some exciting stuff. We went to the appropriately named Inn of Ill Omen, and we killed a random old man named Rufio who tried to run away from us, but was unsuccessful. A pretty easy kill. I think by design, a pretty easy kill. But yeah, we then chose to sleep in his bed, because that's what you do after you kill someone. You sleep in their bed, just to assert your dominance just a little bit more. Lucian came to us, officially extended an invite to join his clan, the Dark Brotherhood, and we took that invitation. We went to Shadenhull, into the abandoned house, and entered the sanctuary door for the first time. Amazed that no one else has stumbled across that, but there are rumours that apparently people have, but are deliberately keeping their mouths shut. Who knows if we'll find out more about that. So yeah, we went into the sanctuary. We met with Ochiva, who I think takes care of the new members. I'm not sure if that was official or anything. We also met a few of the other family members. We met Gogron, the orc that likes to smash everything. We met Telangral, the archer. She's not actually in the sanctuary very often from what I remember, so it's good that we managed to meet her this time. Who else? We met Vicente Valtieri, the vampire. He assured us that we wouldn't be a target of his attacks, but we did find a very interesting letter from him to Ochiva, where he suggested that he might consider draining another of the members, Antoinette Marie, of a few pints of her blood. We haven't met Antoinette yet. We met Mirage Dar, who is the merchant of the sanctuary, who doesn't like us very much. Very, very rude to us. He's protective of his team. He said they don't need any new members, so of course he instantly dislikes me. Maybe he'll come around one day, but it's not a very good start. We got our first contract as well from Vicente, which we'll get onto in this episode. So I must go to the waterfront district in the Imperial City and gain access to the pirate ship Marie Elena, so I can kill Captain Gaston Tussaud. I may be able to smuggle myself on board with the cargo in one of the packing crates. So we learned a lot about the Dark Brotherhood, the Night Mother and Civis in the last episode. So if you want to know the full details, I'd recommend watching that episode if you haven't already. But one thing that was mentioned to us was that we should speak to our fellow Brotherhood members about our assignments, because they could give useful advice and anecdotes that may help us on the quest. And we did that a little bit last time. We spoke to Ochiva and Vicente. Ochiva, what did they say? I think they both made comments about how they once killed a pirate themselves or something like that. I don't think they gave any useful advice, although it's still interesting to hear their stories and a bit about them, so that's always good. But we're going to go back to the sanctuary. We're not going to go straight to Marie Elena. We're going to go back to the sanctuary, and we're going to see if we can meet the other members that we haven't actually met yet, and also gain their perspectives on our current mission. Very rainy day. Let's see if that will change. Did I go to the wrong gate? I went to the wrong gate, didn't I? Did I? How have I managed to get lost in Shadenhull? That shouldn't be possible. Looking for an abandoned house, which I don't know how I managed to lose the entrance to. I guess it's in this direction. That's the castle. That's the chapel. Must be over here. Guess I should have gone to the east gate, really. Yeah, that's it over there. Good, good. Sure no one saw me entering, so we're fine. And I don't think we have to answer the question again. Yeah, okay, the door just lets us in now. It trusts us. Alright, there is Antoinette and Marie. Nice, we get to meet them
I've heard
already.
so much about you. Welcome to our family. Welcome, brother. So good to finally meet you. I hope you're getting along all right.
So far, so good.
Take your time.
Okay, you already like me. That's good. Tell me about Lucian.
I will always think of Lucien Lechance as my saviour. When he found me, I was living in a gutter, an inch away from death. I owe him everything.
Interesting. So I guess Lucian definitely knows how to recruit. He knows exactly the right kind of people to go for. And even me. What do you know about the Night Mother?
I've always wondered who the Night Mother really is. Some say she's an old woman who lives somewhere here in Cyrodiil, but I'm not so sure.
No opinions? Okay. Rumours?
Don't tell anyone else, but someday I'm going to have Uchiva's position. Just you wait and see. Lucien Lechance knows real talent when he sees it.
I know, that's why I'm here. That's interesting. But we are in an Assassin's Guild, and when you say I'm going to have someone's position, you can't help but think, are you trying to kill Uchiva? Or if you were to let her die and you took her place, that would be something you wouldn't be upset with? Just asking, Antoinette, because you seem a bit sus. About the sanctuary.
Have you ever lived on the streets, struggled to survive? This sanctuary is my home. Here I have the safety and love I've searched for all my life.
Sort of lived on the streets. We didn't have a home. Actually, no, we always had homes. As soon as we left the prison, we had like 5 different homes to go to. So I can't really relate on that one. Sithis.
Sometimes, right before a kill, Sithis speaks to me. He whispers in my ear and fills my heart with the joy of suffering and death.
Interesting. Tell me about my contract.
I've travelled by prison ship. It was cramped and dark. There was little room to move around, but plenty of shadowy nooks to hide in. Remember that.
Okay. Kind of advice. So there is some dark places to hide in a ship.
Killed. I mean, well, you know.
Alright. Thanks, Antoinette and Marie. Oh yeah, that skill book we read, which we've now taken. Actually, I was going to say that book we've read, the Wolf Queen Volume 6, was actually a sneak skill book. But because we're at level 100, skill books do no longer increase our skills. Oh, Tainava.
Seeing you again
Oh,
is
some
like a
angels here.
blessing from the Night Mother herself. Hello, brother. It's good to see you again. The Night Mother has been smiling upon you, I hope.
I wouldn't know, but I hope she is. Rumours?
Oh, I shouldn't.
Oh yeah, we heard this one before. What do you know about my contract?
Pirates, eh? They tend to be quick and good with a blade, but don't favor armor. They're not fond of bows or spells either.
Fair enough. Seems like they might do a bit of damage, but they don't wear armor, so we can do damage to them.
May your arrows always strike true.
Oh, look, it's Mirage Dar.
Get away from me.
I wonder if he'll give me any advice.
You again? I thought I made it clear I'm not looking for a friend. If you're here to buy or sell something, get on with it already. I have it on good authority.
Yeah, I don't need to hear that again.
Foul-smelling.
Thanks, Mirajdar. Always a pleasure to talk to you. Anyone else about? Vicente. Yeah, okay. So, usually throughout the day, people go into either the training room or the living quarters, which are on either side. I can't remember which one. Yeah, Tainava went in here, right? Well, you don't know who Tainava is if you've never played Oblivion before, but the Argonian that was reading on that chair. Oh, this is the living quarters. Okay. Now, we haven't been here before, so we're going to help ourselves to some corn, grapes, cheese, mutton, rice, some cloves. There we go. Okay. Oh look, it's our favourite pet rat, Schema. Look at him, so cute. And so not violent. Yeah, everyone's eating, having a grand old time, or sleeping. I guess people have varied schedules, you never know. Probably people have to probably assassinate others by night. So they have to sleep during the day, depending on what their mission is. Plenty of meat and wine. Apple and boar meat. Apparently that's a combo and a half. Although to be fair, I've had pineapple with pork before. Sorry to ruin the meal, everybody, but you know how it is. Gotta steal stuff. Didn't mean to do that. Anything else worth taking? Probably not. The Book of Daedra. Let me check to see if I've read that one. No, that's not what I was searching for. I'm not sure if I've read the Book of Daedra. It feels like one I haven't read. My phone is being very long to load. Let's have a look at some other stuff. Oh, Schema followed me over here. It's a letter. I was heartbroken when you rejected me. Tell me what I can do to win your heart. I will slay trolls, walk through thorns, fast for a week. Please don't shut me out of your life. I love you more than a flower needs sunshine. Your penitent lover. Yeah, a bit of a weird note to find in the Dark Brotherhood Sanctuary. I mean, we know Telangel and Gogren had a thing, or at least according to Gogren. And he said he could prove it, so it's an interesting note to find here for sure. We have read the Book of Daedra, so I'm just going to grab that. Shopping list, beer, lots of beer, new mugs. Enough fruit for 12 guests, 8 loaves of bread, and roast boar. Bunch more wine over here. Sorry, Schema, did you want some? Next time. Anything of any sort of value I'm just going to take. Ooh, repair hammer. We've got a lot of repair hammers though. Barrel, repair hammer. So Mirage Dar's chest. So I guess so labeled chest I'm assuming are going to count as stealing if we take from them. And I don't want to be stealing from fellow Dark Brotherhood members, although legally apparently it's not stealing. I guess since they're assassins, They're not really protected by the law. Interesting how Antoinette's and Marie's chest is average, whereas everyone else's are hard or very hard. We're allowed to sleep in anyone's bed too. We didn't get any more ingredients, did we? Oh yeah, we did. We just got a whole bunch of ingredients. And restore health. Yes, please. Okay, so
Seeing you again is like a blessing from the Night Mother herself.
we've met you two. We haven't met you, though. Tainava.
It's good to see you again. I hope your contracts have been giving you much pleasure.
See you again? I don't think we met, did we? We didn't meet Tainava, did we? Yeah, look, all of these dialogue options are unclicked.
Tell me more.
I'd love to.
Don't waste your flattery on me.
Tell me about Lucian.
Ochiva and I have known Lucian since we were hatchlings. He is the one who trained us in the way of the shadow scale, and is like a father to us.
Damn, Lucian's been very busy. Night Mother.
The Night Mother is the Dark Brotherhood's unholy matron. She guides our actions, just as the Dread Father Sithis once guided hers.
Aha. Rumors?
There are whispers in the halls of the sanctuary. Some say there is a traitor among us, that the Brotherhood has been compromised.
Oh, there's an imposter among us, is there, Tainava? We should make a spin-off game about that. Tell me about the sanctuary.
I've heard the Count of Shadenhall knows about this sanctuary, but he is offered much gold, as well as other incentives, to keep his mouth shut.
Aha, we saw that on one of the loading screens, I think. That is interesting. So what is a shadow scale?
In the Argonian homeland of Blackmarsh, those born under the sign of the Shadow are taken at birth and presented to the Dark Brotherhood. A shadow scale hatchling is trained in the arts of stealth and assassination, and lives a life in service to the mighty kingdom of Argonia. Any shadow scale who lives to come of age is accepted into the Dark Brotherhood as a full member of the family. So it was with myself and Ochiva.
Interesting. I think you could actually be a shadow scale if you play as an Argonian with the sign of the shadow. I think we have the sign of the shadow, don't we? I believe so. So then you'd be a shadow scale as well. So then it would make sense for you to join the Dark Brotherhood. That's interesting. Tell me about Sithis.
Who is Sithis, you ask? Some call him the Dread Father. It was his terrible love that gave birth to the Dark Brotherhood so very long ago.
His terrible love. So maybe he left the love note that's on that table over there. What do you think, Tainava? You think Sithis left that love note there? Okay, yeah. Maybe I shouldn't be so insulting. What can you tell me about pirate ships?
The Marie Elena, you say? I've seen that ship. There's a unique balcony at the stern. My guess is it leads to the captain's cabin. Could be useful.
That is very good intel. Although, yeah, let me not spoil anything.
May you walk always in the shadow of Sithis, dear brother.
Thanks, man. Okay, I think we've met everybody now. Damn it, Schema, you really are active today, aren't you? But we still have a couple of people, at least one person we haven't talked to about our contract. But here is the training room First time we're seeing that. And we're just going to look around and help ourselves with some more gear. Ochiva. We've met Ochiva. We've even asked her about a contract. Interesting area that Ochiva's aiming for with that dagger. So if you're a man, I would advise not to mess with Ochiva and give her any reason to dislike you. And Gogron, I just say that advice applies generally, just don't make him angry. You know it makes sense. Ooh, 2 gold. Ooh, some skill books, I assume. We'll check out those in a sec. In fact, let's have a look at them now. So we've got the Gold Ribbon of Merit and the Rear Guard. I'm guessing the Rear Guard would probably be block. Gold Ribbon of Merit? Hard to tell. Something warrior related, I would guess. Hold on, I'm just double checking. I haven't read these ones. Nope, have not read either of them. So I guess we're going to be doing a bit of reading. We'll start with the Gold Ribbon of Merit, which is a marksman book. The Gold Ribbon of Merit by Amperian Brum. In that early springtime morning, pale sunlight flickered behind the morning mist, floating through the trees as Templar and Stringpool made their way to the clearing. Neither had been back in High Rock, let alone in their favourite woods, for 4 years. The trees had changed little, even if they had. Stringpool had a handsome blonde moustache now, stiffened and spiked with wax, and Templar seemed to be a completely alien creature to the young lad who searched for adventure in the ancient grove. He was much quieter, as if scarred within as well as without. They each carried their bows and quivers with extra care as they manoeuvred their way through the clusters of vine and branch. "This is a path that used to lead to your house, isn't it, old boy?" asked Stringpool. Templar glanced at the overgrowth and nodded before continuing on. "I thought so," said Stringpool and laughed. "I remember it because you used to run down it every time you got a bloody nose. I know I can't offend you, but I have to say, it's hard to believe that you ended up a soldier." "How's your family?" asked Templar. "The same, a bit more pompous if that's possible. It's obvious they wish I'd come back from the academy. There's nothing much for me here, at least not until I collect my inheritance. Did you see I got a Gold Ribbon of Merit in archery?" There it is." "How could I miss it?" said Templar. "Oh yes, I nearly forgot that the families put it in the Great Hall. Very ostentatiously. I suppose you can actually see it through the picture window. Silly, but I hope the peasants are impressed." The clearing opened up before them, where the mist settled on the grass, enveloping it in an opaque, chilly vapour. Burlap targets were arranged around in a semicircle, several metres apart, like sentinels. "You've been practising," observed Templar. "Well, a bit. I've only been back in town for a few days," said Stringpool with a smile. "My parents said you got here a week ago." "That's right. My unit's camped a few miles east, and I thought I'd visit the old haunts. Lots changed. I could hardly recognise anything at all." Templar looked down at the valley below, to the vast empty tilled ground, stretching out for miles around. "Looks like a good planting." "My family's rather spread out since yours left. There was some discussion, I think, about keeping your old house up, but it seemed a little sentimental, especially as there was fertile ground beneath." Stringpool strung his bow carefully. It was a beautiful piece of art, darkest ebony and spun silver filigrees, handcrafted for him in Wayrest. He looked over at Templar stringing his bow, and felt a twinge of pity. It was a sad, weathered utensil, bound together with strips of fabric. "If that's how they taught you to string your bow, you need some advisors from the academy of that army of yours," said Stringpool as gently as he could. "The untitled loop is supposed to look like an X and an O. Yours looks like a Z and a Y." "It works for me," said Templar. "I should tell you, I won't be able to make an afternoon of this. I'm supposed to join my unit this evening." Stringpool began to feel annoyed by his old friend. If he was angry about his family losing their land, why couldn't he just say it? Why did he come back to the valley at all? He watched Templar knock his first arrow, taking aim at a target, and coughed. I'm sorry, but I can't in good faith send you back to the army without a little new wisdom. There are 3 types of draw. 3 fingers, thumb and index, thumb and 2 fingers. Then there's the thumb draw, which I like. But you see, Stringpool showed Templar the small leather loop fastened on the cord of his bow. You need to have one of these thingies or you'll tear your thumb right off. I think I like my stupid method best. Don't be pig-headed, Templar. They didn't give me the gold ribbon of merit for nothing. I had demonstrated shooting from under a shield, standing, sitting, squatting, kneeling, and sitting on horseback. This is practical information I'm imparting for the sake of our friendship, which I, at least, haven't completely forgotten. Sweet killer, if I remember when you were just an oily little squirt, begging for this kind of honest guidance. Templar looked at Stringpool for a moment, and lowered his bow. Show me. Stringpool relaxed, shook away the tensions that had been building. He did his exercise, drawing the bow back to his eyebrow, his moustache, his chest, his earlobe. There are 3 ways of shooting: snatching and releasing in one continuous motion, like the Bosma do, holding with a short draw and a pause before releasing, like the Khajiit, and partial draw, pause, final draw. Stringpool fired the arrow into the centre of the target with cool precision, and release, which I prefer. Very nice, said Templar. I wonder if that's actually how those races shoot arrows in the game. That would be pretty cool. So Bosma, they snatch and release in one motion, but the Khajiit like to wait before shooting. Interesting. Sure, there's no wrong answer there. Now you, said Stringpool. He helped Templar select a grip, knock his arrow correctly, and take aim. A smile grew on Templar's face, the first time Stringpool had seen such a childlike expression on the war-etched visage all afternoon. When Templar released the arrow, it rocketed high over the top of the target and into the valley below, where it disappeared from sight. Not bad, said Templar. No, not bad, said Stringpool, feeling friendly once again. If you practice, you should be able to focus your aim a little bit. The 2 shot a few more practice spots before parting ways. Templar began the long trek east to his unit's camp, and Stringpool wound his way down through the woods to the valley and his family's mansion. He hummed a little tune he learned at the academy as he passed the great lawn and walked up to the front door, pleased with himself for helping his old friend. It entirely escaped his attention that the large picture window was broken, but he noticed right away when he came into the great hall and saw Templar's wild shot bolt sticking in his gold ribbon of merit. Oh, nice. So, if you didn't catch that, the arrow that missed, which he said was not bad, actually went all the way and took out his gold ribbon of merit. So I guess this is to show that you don't need the best gear or the best techniques, or I guess you can have your own technique as well. Anyone can be good at bows and arrows. I don't know if this story really has much of a lesson, but it was a funny ending. I'll give it that. Okay, let's try the rear guard. Huh. Not... Oh, maybe it's light armor? Because we already have 100 light armor? Okay. A rear guard by 10 or small. The castle would hold. No matter the forces, the walls of Cascabel Hall would never fail. That was small consolation for Menegar. He was hungry. In fact, he had never been so hungry. The well in the atrium of the fortress supplied him with enough water to hold there until the fourth era, but his stomach reminded Menegar, minute to minute, that he needed food. The wagon load of supplies mocked him. When his army, the forces of the King of Solitude, had left Cascabel Hall, and he had manned the battlements as the rear guard to protect their retreat, they left a wagon behind to supply him with enough food for months. It was not until the night after they left that he inspected the larder and found that nothing edible was in the wagon. Ouch. Trunk after trunk was filled with neck armour from the army's incursion into Morrowind. Apparently his Nord confederates had assumed that the lightly opaque material was hardtack and aspic. I don't know what that means. If the Donma whose caravan had been raided knew about this, they would never be able to stop laughing. Let me just reread that myself. So they left a wagon behind to supply him with food, but it was actually full of armor. Okay. Menegar thought that his fellow mercenary and kinswoman Erin would have found this amusing as well. She had spoken with great authority about netch leather, being an expert of sorts on light armor. Yeah, this was a light armor book. But she had made a point to mention that it could not be eaten like other leather in occasions of hardship. What? You eat armor? It was a pity she couldn't be there to enjoy the irony, Menegar thought savagely. She had returned to Morrowind even before the king's army had left, preferring a life as a wanted fugitive to a free existence in the cold of Skyrim. All the weeds in the courtyard had been devoured by the rearguard's 16th day manning Cascabel Hall. The entire castle had been scoured. Rotten tubers in the mulch pile found and consumed, a dusty bouquet in the countess's bedchamber, eaten, almost every rat and insect, but the most cunning infesting the castle walls had been tracked down and gobbled up. The castellan's chambers filled with acrid, inedible law books. It yielded up a couple crumbs of bread. Menegar had even scraped moss from the stones. There was no denying it. He would be dead from starvation before his army returned to break the ranks of the enemies who surrounded the fortress. The worst part, said Menegar, who had taken to talking to himself on only the second day alone in the castle, is how close sustenance is. A vast arbour of golden apples stretched acre after acre near the castle walls. The sunlight cast a seductive gleam on the fruit, and the cruel wind carried sweet smells into Cascabel to torture him. Like most Bosmer, Menegar was an archer. He was a master of long and medium distance fighting, but in close quarters, as he would be if he dared to leave the castle and enter the enemy camp in the arbour, he knew he would not last long. At some point he knew he would have to try, but he had been dreading the day. It was upon him now. Menegar put on the netch armour for the first time, feeling the powdery, almost velvet texture of the rendered leather against his skin. There was also a barely perceptible throb, which he recognised as the remnant nematocysts, don't know what that means, of the netch's venomous flesh, still tingling months after its death with domesticated poison. The combination made him feel energised. Erin had described the sensation perfectly, just as she had explained how to defend himself while wearing netch leather armour. Under cover of night, Menegar crept out of the back gates of the castle, locking it behind him with a rather cumbersome key. He made for the arbour as quietly as he could, but a passing sentry, coming behind a tree, saw him. Remaining calm, Menegar did as he remembered Erin had instructed, only moving after the attack had been launched. The sentry's blade glided against the armour and knocked to the left, throwing the young man off balance. That was the trick as he understood it. He had to be prepared to be hit, and merely move with the blow, allowing the membranous armour to divert the injury away. Use your enemy's momentum against him, as Erin used to say. There were several more close encounters in the arbour, but each swing of an axe and each thrust of a sword found purchase elsewhere. With handfuls of apples, Menegar ran the gauntlet back to the castle. He locked the back gate door behind him and fell into an orgy of eating. Well, that's certainly a way to explain it. For week after week, the Bosmer stole out to gather his food. The guards began anticipating his raids, but he kept his schedule irregular, always remembered when attacked to wait for the blow, accept it, and then turn. In such a way, he lived and survived his lonely vigil in Cascabel Hall. 4 months later, as he was preparing for another seizure of apples, Menegar heard a loud clamour at the front gate. Surveying the group from a safe distance from the battlements, he saw the shields of the King of Solitude, his ally the Count of Cascabel, and their enemy the King of Farron. Evidently, a truce had been called. Menegar opened the gates and the combined armies flooded the courtyard. Many of the knights of Farron sought to shake the hand of a man they had named the Shadow of the Arbour, expressing their admiration at his defensive skills and apologising good-naturedly for their attempts to slay him. Only doing their job, you know. There's hardly an apple left on the vines, said the King of Solitude. Well, I started on the edges and worked my way in, explained Menegar. I brought back extra fruit to tempt the rats out of war so I could have a little meat as well. We spent the last several months working out the details of the truce, said the king. Really quite exhausting. In any rate, the Count will be taking back possession of his castle now. There is a small detail we need to work out. You're a mercenary and as such responsible for your own expenses. If you had been a subject of mine, things might be different. There are certain old rules of law that must be respected. Menegar anticipated the strike. The problem is, the king continued, you've taken a good deal of the Count's crops while here. By any reasonable computation, you've eaten an amount equal to and likely exceeding your mercenaries' wages. Obviously, I would not want to penalize you for the excellent job you've done defending the castle in uncomfortable circumstances, but you agree that it's important that we observe the old rules of law, don't you? Ouch. So they left him to starve. He had to risk his life just to get any sort of food at all, and they're going to make him pay for it. Of course, replied Menegar, accepting the blow. I'm delighted to hear that, said the king. Our estimation is that you owe the Count of Cascabel 37 imperial gold, which I will gladly pay to myself, with interest after the autumn-tide harvest, said Menegar. There is more left on the vine than you suggest. The Kings of Solitude and Farron and the Count of Cascabel stared at the Bosmer. We agreed to abide to the strictest old rules of law, and I've had time to read a great many books over the time you were making your truce. In 3rd Era 246, during the reign of Uriel IV, the Imperial Council, in an attempt to clear up some questions of property rights in Skyrim during those chaotic days, decreed that any man without a liege who occupied a castle for more than 3 months would be granted the rights and titles of that estate. It's a good law, of course, meant to discourage absent and foreign landlords. Menegar smiled, feeling the now familiar sensation of a glancing strike diverting. Damn. So because they left him in the castle for months, he now owns the castle. Fair enough. I mean, if they're going to quote old laws, then why can't he? By the rule of law, I am the Count of Cascabel. The rearguard's son still holds the title of the Count of Cascabel, and he grows the finest, most delectable apples in the Empire. Nice. Now, these stories are pretty good, you know. They've got pretty good payoffs at the end. So, I guess the key for this one, like this, because it was a light armor book, is like taking blows but doing enough to not be killed by them, I guess. So this guy took the blow of being quoted an old law that made it pay 37 gold, and he made it his own by using another law that made him the Count of Cascabel. Nice. Good book. What else do we have in here? No weapons, surprisingly. Maybe some in here. Nope, just some clothes. Some poisons. Azir Trigizeri. Have I read this one? I know I've read it in the past, but I don't know if I've read it on this save. Have not read this. And that is booster hand-to-hand skill. Azir Trigizeri by Anonymous. This is an absurd book, but like all things Khajiiti, as the expression goes, Gazalzi Vaber Zarita Masi, or absurdity has become necessity. Much of what I have to say has probably never been written before, and if it has, no one has read it. The Imperials feel that everything must be written down for posterity, but every Khajiiti kitten born in elsewhere knows his history. He drinks it in with his mother's milk. Not sure I needed to know that much detail. Fairly recently, however, our struggles to win back our homeland from the rapacious Count of Leowin have attracted sympathetic persons, even Imperials who wish to join our cause, but it seems do not understand our ways. So yeah, Leowin, of course, is on the border of like elsewhere and Blackmarsh, so there's a lot of problems between like Leowin, because that's owned by the Empire, and those two places that are, of course, Argonian and Khajiit homelands. So a lot of border disputes and stuff like that happening. And yeah, that includes Leowin too, I suppose. Our enemies, of course, do not understand us either. But that is as we wish it, a weapon in our arsenal. Our non-Khajiiti friends, however, should know who we are, why we are, and what we are doing. The Khajiit mind is not engineered for self-reflection. We simply do what we do, and let the world be damned. To put into words and rationalize our philosophy is foreign. I cannot guarantee that even after reading this you will understand us. Grasp this simple truth. Kazi no vano fazina ualis. When I contradict myself, I am telling the truth. We are the Renrisha Kryn. I've heard that name before. The mercenaries grin. The laugh of the landless and the smiling scum would all be fair translations. It is a derogatory expression, but it is amusing, so we have adopted it. We have anger in our hearts, but not on our faces. We fight for elsewhere, but we do not ally ourselves with the Maine, who symbolizes our land. We believe in justice, but do not follow laws. Kazi no vano fazina ualis. These are not rules, for there is no word for rules in Ta'agra. Call them our trikizrini, foolish concepts. 1. Vaba do shurto. It is good to be brave. We are struggling against impossible odds, against the very empire of Tamriel. Our cause is the noblest cause of all, defense of home. If we fail, we betray our past and our future. Our dead are risalidad, which may be interpreted as martyrs in the truest, best sense of that word, which is so often misused. We honour their sacrifice, and beneath our smiles mourn them deeply. Our bravery most obviously shows in the smile that is the Kryn part of our name. This does not mean that we walk about grinning like the idiotic baboonish Imga of Valenwood. Ouch. We simply are entertained by adversary. We find an equal fair fight tiresome in the extreme. We confidently smile because we know our victory in the end is assured. And we know our smiles drive our enemies insane. Interesting. 2. Vaba masi lagito. It is necessary to run away. That kind of contradicts the first one. It's good to be brave. We are struggling against impossible odds, against the very empire of Tamriel. Honour is madness. Yes, we love the Renrija Kryn who died in brave battle against the forces of the Empire, but I guarantee you that each of those Risalidad had an escape route he or she failed to use, and died saying, damn. When the great Sencherat comes to the Samasil steppes, he will find himself unable to hunt, unable to sleep, as the tiny Alfiq leap onto his back, biting him and running off before he has a chance to turn his great body to face them. Eventually, though, he may stubbornly hope to catch the Alfiq. The Sencherat always leaves. Okay, they are our cousins, the Alfiq, and we have adopted their strategy against the great tiger of Leowin. Do not ally yourself with the Renrij if you yearn to be part of a mighty army, marching resolutely forth, for whom retreat is anathema. We will laugh at your suicidal idiocy as we slip into the reeds of a river and watch the inevitable slaughter. Okay, so sometimes fight, sometimes run away, sure. 3. Fusose var var. Enjoy life. Life is short. If you have not made love recently, please put down this book and take care of that with all haste. Damn, this book's attacking me personally. Find a wanton lass or a frisky lad or several in whatever combination your wise loins direct, and do not under any circumstances play hard to get. Our struggle against the colossal forces of oppression can wait. Good, welcome back. Nice. We Renrija Kryn live and fight together, and know that Leowin and the Empire will not give way very soon. Likely not in our lifetimes. In the time we have, we do not want our closest comrades to be dour, dull, colourless, sober, and virginal. If we did, we would have joined the Emperor's blades. I guess that's one of the reasons we've never seen a Khajiit blade. Do not begrudge us our lewd jokes, our bawdy, drunken nights, our moon sugar. They are the pleasures that Leowin denies us, and so we take our good humour very seriously. Of course, moon sugar's used to make skooma. I guess that's why there's quite a few Khajiit characters who like the good stuff. 4. Fusose Vardar. Kill without qualm. That's a bit of a scary one. It explains what Mirage Dar is doing in the Dark Brotherhood, though. Life is short, very short, as many have learned when they have crossed the Renrija Kryn. We fight dirty. If an enemy is facing us, we might consider our options, and even slip away if his sword looks too big. If his back is to us, however, I personally favour knocking him down, and then jumping on his neck where the bones snap with a gratifying crunch. Similar to that, what was it, Alfiq? Before? Yeah, as a tiny Alfiq leap onto his back. Of course, it is up to you and your personal style. 5. Azir Duraris. We give freely to the people. Let us not forget our purpose. We are fighting for our families. The Khajiiti driven from the rich fertile shores of Lake Makapi and the River Malapi, very creatively named, where they and their ancestors lived since time immemorial. It is our battle, but their tragedy. We must show them, lest they are swayed by other rhetoric, that we are fighting for them. The Main, the Emperor, and the Count could give speeches, pass laws, and living life in the open, explain their positions and philosophies to their people to stave off the inevitable revolution. Extra-legal entities such as the Renrisha Kryn must make our actions count for our words. This means more than fighting the good fight and having a laugh at our befuddled adversaries. It means engaging and seducing the people. Ours is not a military war, it is a political war. If the people rise up against our oppressors, they will retreat and we will win. Give to these people whenever possible gold, moon sugar, and our strong arms, and though they hide, their hearts will be with us. Interesting. So they don't want to win through battle, they want to win by convincing people to join them through whatever means possible, including drugs, if needed. Very interesting. Of course, that also contradicts the previous kill without qualm. So, yeah, a lot of contradictions here, but I can kind of see where they're coming from. 6. Azir Tragizeri, the title of the book. We justly take by force. Let us not forget our purpose. We are thieves and thugs, smugglers and saboteurs. If we cannot take a farm, we burn it to the ground. If the Imperials garrisoned in a glorious ancient stronghold beloved by our ancestors will not yield, we tear the structure apart. If the only way to rescue the land from the Leowen misappropriation is to make it uninhabitable by all, so be it. We want our life and our home back as it was 20 years ago. But if that is not realistic, then we will accept a different, simple, pragmatic goal. Revenge. With a smile. Alright, interesting book. Interesting philosophical view on life. Alright, so got to gain a couple of skills from that, of course. Bit of progress from gaining some marksman as well. We didn't get any ingredients. So let's talk to our man Gogran now about our quest.
I know what you're thinking. Gogran.
Rumors?
Hey, I don't like to tell...
Yeah, we know you until Angel hooked up. Contract?
So, your first contract. No chance for a bonus, huh? Oh, that's all right. You're better off. Who needs magic items when you've got raw skill? And the great thing about killing a target up close and personal is you can talk to him before you do it. You know, say something scary. Oh, for example, this one time, I had a contract to kill a little Nord girl at her birthday party. She asked me if I was the jester. So I said to her, "No, I am a messenger of death." You should have seen the look on her face. Anyway, she won't be seeing age 6.
Wow. Well, this is why you talk to everyone, guys, because you get invaluable stories like this. And you get an insight into the kind of guy that Gogran is. I mean, there's so many thick questions here. First of all, who hired the Dark Brotherhood to kill an under 6-year-old Nord child? And second of all, well, why did Gogran... I guess Gogran has to do it because it's a contract, right? He can't say no. But he definitely enjoyed himself a lot killing that child. So that tells you a lot about Gogran. But,
Happy hunting, my brother.
A little scary. We move. Alright, well. Thus concludes our tour of the Dark Brotherhood Sanctuary. And yeah, now we've met everyone. We've got all of their advice. Now we can actually do the quest almost an hour into the episode. And that's fine. We do love our sidetracks sometimes. And I guess if you don't like the books, and you can skip over it, and this will feel like a much shorter episode. Who's this over here? Luckless Lucina.
Me children will thank you for your help.
Right.
Blessings of Archay upon ye.
Sure. Alright, let's head off then. To Marie Elena. Or to the Imperial City waterfront. Hello, Watchman.
Champion.
A lot of things, really. Who are you?
Well met.
Damien Magius.
Well met.
Have we met before? Yes.
Take care.
Carry on, sir. Okay. Oh yeah, we killed the pirates, didn't we? Well, I say, didn't we? I don't remember when it was this happened. But at some point we angered the pirates. And they must have attacked us. Or they angered someone. And someone killed them? I don't even remember. Well, none of them are outside anymore. I would have been interested to see what kind of dialogue they had. There is actually the first mate that is usually out here. And she says something like, the Maria Elena's my baby, and if you do anything to touch her, she's going to hurt you, or something like that. But yeah, I guess she's already dead. And there's not much to be done about that. But yeah, all of the pirates on the outside are dead, so we can just walk freely around here. Curious as to who this is. Jer.
You wear the shadows well, fellow thief.
No, we haven't met you before.
Certainly. Really, that remark I see.
Rumors?
If you go to the Fighting Chance, make sure to speak with Rosan about repairing armor.
Cool. Imperial City?
You have to watch out for pickpockets in the city. You'd be surprised how many waterfronters earn a good income that way.
You just said you wear the shadows well, fellow thief. So clearly you are one of the people I should be watching out for. But you know I'm part of a guild, so you're not going to touch me, right? Of course you're not. Let's grab some stuff from these containers. Ooh, lockpick. Can we jump back onto the ship from here? Damn it, not quite. The acrobatic skills we gained in our in the last episode were not quite enough. Okay. Oh, but alright, you believe you could effectively hide in this crate and then be transported to the pirate ship Maria Elena. Do you wish to hide in the crate or try to find your own way on board the ship? I'm going to save this for now. Oh wait, can I not do that anymore? Okay. I thought it like permanently locked me out of that option. Because I was going to say something about the advice we got. So the other thing that was mentioned was not yet. Was there was an interesting balcony which directly led to the captain's quarters, which I think might be that one over there, which Tainava said. So that's another way on board, which goes straight to the captain's quarters, but I kind of want to hide in the crate. Just as expected, the crate I hid in has been transported to the ship's hold. I must now find and kill the captain, Gaston Tussaud. He's probably in his cabin at the rear of the ship, on the higher deck. Okay, so there might be some... so someone clearly carried me on board, so there must be some pirates inside the ship as well. I wonder how long I had to wait inside that crate. Hopefully not too long. Just get my weapon out just in case. A lot of useful stuff here. Bunch of corn. Some sandals. Is that some sounds from above? Okay, there we go. Bunch of sacks, anything, some shoes, a repair hammer, and another folded cloth. There's a chest, we'll do that last, we'll take the corn. Take the wheat. More corn. And the chest has some pants. Slightly disappointing. Yeah, I didn't expect the good loot to be over here. Okay, wooden door to Maria Elena mid-deck. Okay. Some stuff over here, lockpick. Some more corn. I do like their corn here. Flour. A shirt and a cloth. Okay. Wooden door. Close that behind us. Ooh. A rogue repair hammer. A bed. Which we could sleep in if we wanted to. But I think we've done enough sleeping in the beds of our enemies for the time being. Tomato and bread. Not the most luxury of cutlery. Ooh, detect life and restore fatigue. Lovely. Is there a door here? No. There is a book on Morrowind. I am going to check. I think we have read it though. Yeah. Grab. Plate. Tan mug. Not much else in this room.
Woman on board a pirate vessel. Back in my day, it never would have happened.
Oh, come now. How many times has Malvolus saved our necks, huh? Captain Tussaud keeps her on for a reason. She's a better sailor than any one of us.
Hold there, laddie. Now you're just being insulting. She may be tougher than me, and meaner too, but a better sailor? It ain't even possible.
All right, how could I forget? That time we were almost dashed upon the rocks near the city of Firsthold. That was somebody else at the helm.
I told you 1,000,000 times it wasn't my fault. The wheel was covered with gull droppings. My hand slipped. It could have happened to anyone.
Well, it's never happened to Malvolus, has it? You know why? Because she could sail better than you in her sleep, you old fool.
Ah, you mark my words, boy. That dark elf trollop is bad luck. The captain will end up dead with her around. You'll see.
You'd better watch your tongue, old man. Captain Tussaud hears you talking like that, he'll cut it out. Now come on, we've been gabbing long enough.
Oh, you may have had a point there.
Whoa! Ha! You'll never take me down!
Oh, okay.
Why?
They do take some hits. Alright. Steel cutlass. I'll take that. And I'll take those. Alright, we put up a little bit of a fight at least. Now the steel cutlass. And some clothes and some leather boots. Thank you. That was an interesting conversation though. They were talking about how the first mate Malvulis, so the Dark Elf, that is usually seen on the surface but got killed at some point before. I don't remember how, when or why, but yeah, apparently she was a good sailor and very tough. But, and that she was bad luck, which turns out was probably true. They said one of them said the captain would be killed with her on board. Let's check over here. Clay bowl. Thank you for the corn. Another bed. More boxes and barrels with, gonna guess, not too much in them. Oh, fur armor, to be fair. It's not terrible. Wheat. Ginseng. Some gold. And another bed. Okay, so that's a wooden door to the captain's cabin. We don't want to go there just yet. Let's see what's in here first. Couple parchments, folded cloth, pants and a cloth. It's not the best place for loot for a pirate ship. Can't have been very successful. I think that's pretty much it though. Let's head over to the captain's cabin. I have gained access to the captain's cabin of the ship Marie Elena. I must now kill Gaston Tussaud. And I assume that's him. So this is the door, balcony door, I guess. Oh no, maybe it's that one on... No, I don't think so. This is it. This does go outside. Well, he's seen me. Is he? Are we going to talk? No, he's not attacking me. Let's see what he has to say.
You ain't one of me crew. What business you be having here, mate?
I'm going to look around, if you don't mind, and then we'll have a chat. Because I'm guessing our chat's about to lead to us having a fight. Note. Remove the top first. Reach inside and take out all the parts, being careful to note their order. Put the carving onto the rod. Reinsert the rod into the cavity. Replace the parts in the order you remove them. Seal the top with pine tar. I have no idea what this is instructions for, and I think this might be a generic note that you can find anywhere. So I don't know if there's too much meaning.
Take whatever you want. It's none of my business.
Oh, this actually counts as stealing? In that case, we better talk to you then. I surely don't have a bounty for that, right? No. But it's going to be annoying if he keeps saying, oh, you're stealing that. So... let's talk.
What in blazes? You ain't one of me crew. You best start explaining yourself, mate, if you want to get off this ship alive.
Nice accent, mate. What if I say nothing?
Oh, so you want to get cute, do you? All right then, mate. We'll do this the hard way.
And it is done. Gaston Tussaud is dead. I must now return to the sanctuary and speak with Vicente Valtieri to receive my reward.
Captain Tussaud, are you all right, sir? We heard a clamour, Captain. We're coming in.
There is a point where you could escape. But, we can take these guys. I mean, dude's topless. He ain't tanking anything. Wasn't there two people? There was. This guy's just oblivious.
Well,
You got one hit off. To be fair to you. Steel cutlass, thank you. Clothes, thank you. Now we'll take a proper look without this guy saying, "You're stealing! How dare you steal from a pirate?" Guide to Skingrad, Parchment, Fall of the Snow Prince. Let's check. Seems like a kind of rare book. We have not read Fall of the Snow Prince. Alright, let's get into some more reading then. Fall of the Snow Prince, an account of a battle of the Mosering, as transcribed by Lochheim, chronicler to the chieftain Ingjaldr White-Eye. Sounds like a lot of Nord names. Also, the word Snow Prince implies snow and Nordicness. From whence he came, we did not know, but into the battle he rode, on a brilliant steed of pallid white. Elf we called him, for elf he was, yet unlike any other of his kind we had ever seen before that day. His spear and armour bore the radiant and terrible glow of unknown magicka, and so adorned this unknown rider seemed more white than warrior. What troubled, nay, frightened us most at that moment was the call that rose from the elven ranks. It was not fear, not wonder, but an unabashed and unbridled joy, the kind of felicity felt by a damned man who has been granted a second chance at life. For at that time the elves were as damned and near death as ever they had been during the great skirmishes of Solstheim. The Battle of the Mosering was to be the final stand between Nord and Elf and our fair island. Led by Ysgramor, we had driven the elven scourge from Skyrim, and were intent on cleansing Solstheim of their kind as well. Our warriors, armed with the finest axes and swords Nord craftsmen could forge, cut great swaths through the enemy ranks. The slopes of the Mosering ran red with elf blood. Why, then, would our foe rejoice? Could one rider bring such hope to an army so hopeless? To most of our kind, the meaning of the call was clear, but the words were but a litany of elven chants and cries. There were some among us, however, the scholars and chroniclers, who knew well the words and shuddered at their significance. The Snow Prince is come! Doom is at hand! There was then a great calm that overcame the elves that still stood. Through their mass the Snow Prince did ride, and as a longboat slices the icy waters of the Fjalding, he parted the ranks of his kin. The magnificent white horse slowed to a gallop, then a trot, and the unknown elf rider moved to the front of the line at a slow, almost ghost-like pace. A Nord warrior sees much in a life of bloodshed and battle, and is rarely surprised by anything armed combat may bring, but few among us that day could have imagined the awe and uncertainty of a raging battlefield that all at once went motionless and silent. Such is the effect the Snow Prince had on us all, for when the joyous cries of the elves had ended, there remained a quiet known only in the solitude of slumber. It was then our combined host, elf and Nord alike, were joined in a terrible understanding. Victory or defeat mattered little that day on the slopes of the Mosering Mountains. The one truth we all shared was that death would come to many that day, victor and vanquished alike. The glorious Snow Prince, an elf unlike any other, did come that day to bring death to our kind, and death he so brought. Like a sudden violent snow squall that rends travellers blind and threatens to tear loose the very foundations of the sturdiest hall, the Snow Prince did sweep into our numbers. Indeed, the ice and snow did begin to swirl and churn about the elf, as if called upon to serve his bidding. The spinning of that gleaming spear whistled a dirge to all those who would stand in the way of the Snow Prince, and our mightiest fell before him that day. Ulfki Anvilhand, Strom the White, Freda Oakenwand, Heimdall the Frenzied, all lay dead at the foot of the Mosering Mountains. For the first time that day it had seemed the tide of battle had actually turned. The elves, spurred on by the deeds of the Snow Prince, rallied together for one last charge against our ranks. It was then in a single instant that the Battle of the Mosering came to a sudden and unexpected end. Finna, daughter of Joffrior, a lass of only 12 years and squire to her mother, watched as the Snow Prince cut down her only parent. In her rage and sorrow, Finna picked up Joffrior's sword and threw it savagely at her mother's killer. When the elf's gleaming spear stopped its deadly dance, the battlefield fell silent, and all eyes turned to the Snow Prince. No one that day was more surprised than the elf himself at the sight that greeted them all. For upon his great steed the Snow Prince still sat, the sword of Joffrior buried deeply in his breast, and that he fell from his horse, from the battle, from life. The Snow Prince lay dead, slain by a child. Haha, slain by a child, you suck. With their saviour defeated, the spirit of the remaining elven warriors soon shattered. Many fled, and those that remained on the battlefield were soon cut down by our broad Nord axes. When the day was done, all that remained was the carnage of the battlefield, and from that battlefield came a dim reminder of valour and skill, for the brilliant armour and spear of the Snow Prince still shined. Even in death, this mighty and unknown elf filled us with awe. It is common practice to burn the corpses of our fallen foes, which is as much a necessity as it is custom, for death brings with it disease and dread. Our chieftains wished to cleanse Solstheim with the elven horde, in death as well as life. It was decided, however, that such was not to be the fate of the Snow Prince. One so mighty at war, yet so loved by his kin, deserved better, even in death, even if an enemy of our people. And so we brought the body of the Snow Prince, wrapped in fine silks, to a freshly dug barrow. The gleaming armour and spear were presented on a pedestal of honour, and the tomb was arrayed with treasures worthy of royalty. All of the mighty chieftains agreed with this course, that the elf should be so honoured. His body would be preserved in the barrow for as long as the earth chose, but would not be offered for protection of our Stalhrim, which is reserved for Nord dead alone. So ends this account of the Battle of the Mosering and the fall of a magnificent elven Snow Prince. May our gods honour him in death, and may we never meet his kind again in life. Alright, interesting one. So the Nords at war with the elves, and the Snow Prince, a mighty warrior, almost turned the tide in favour of the elves, but ended up being killed by a vengeful daughter. But he ended up becoming a symbol of respect in war, even though they were enemies, but they respected his skill, and they didn't burn his body because he was that good. Fair enough. Alright, it's loot our Argonian friend here for his coarse linens. Okay, on Morrowind. For real Baron Zaya. Again, Volume 4 is missing. I think we have read that now. No, I think we definitely have read it now. But that book always seems to be like the rare one that gets missing. A Less Root Song. I think I have. Yep. Manual of Spellcraft. Yep. Fundaments of Alchemy. Yep. Guides. We've read all the guides. Take some silver stuff too. Mixed unit tactics. Yep. The eastern provinces. Yep. And another guide to the Imperial City. Okie dokie. Steel cutlass. Some more expensive clothes. A sweet roll, of course, for Lusty Argonian Maid. Which we have read, so I'm not going to read it again, sadly, for some of you guys. But I'm sure you can find it online if you're really up for that kind of thing. For Captain's Key and some gold. Which I imagine would open his chest. Another cutlass. Silver cutlery. Some grapes. Some ceramic stuff. Sweet roll. Silver craft. Some Nern root. You have done that quest, but always good to find some Nern root. Some expensive wine. So you can tell this captain definitely lived significantly better than his crew. Just by looking around his place. I think that's about it. Apart from, of course, the chest. Emerald, 2 flawless pearls, and 100 gold. Awesome. I mean, it's chump change compared to most of the stuff we get now, but still. Yeah, so this is the balcony door I think Tainava was talking about. Yeah. So just to show you, that's the exit into the ship. We could have just gone in through there, to be honest. I mean, yeah, we could have literally just walked in here because all the pirates were already dead. So, yeah, but it was fun sneaking through on the crate, and we got to look at the rest of the ship as well. So that was pretty cool. Okay, let's head back to Old Vicente and retrieve our reward for a job well done.
Have mercy. Just one more.
Who are you, Lavarna Nadaran?
You seem far too nice to be one of Ulrich's men. What can I do for you?
Oh, we can talk to you about fines, apparently.
Take your time.
I'm gonna pretend I didn't know that.
Oh, please, don't even get me started. That madman won't be satisfied until everyone in town is dead broke. Or in jail. What in Oblivion is Ulrich doing with all that money anyway? I'm sure he's lining his pockets with the gold of the good citizens of Cheydinhal. Take my good friend Aldous Othran, for example. In the last month, he's been fined 6 times. 6! All for being drunk and disorderly. Have you ever gone past a guard barracks? When are they not drunk and disorderly? What kind of a stupid fine is that? Well, Aldous couldn't pay the last 2 fines, so they seized his home and threw him into the street until he could pay it. Bastards!
Oh, poor guy. What about the Count?
The Count? He could care less about our plight. As long as the roast suckling pig is delivered to his feast table, he's as happy as can be.
Is there anyone who cares?
Well, there's one man who seems to care. Garrus Durelian, the second in command of the guard. I hear he isn't happy with Ulrich. I don't know what you can do for us in this situation. I mean, Ulrich is the captain after all. Perhaps you could speak to Garrus.
Perhaps I will.
You can find him roaming the county hall of the castle most of the time.
Okay, so we've got ourselves a new quest. I'm surprised we have not heard a rumour about this quest before, because we talked to a lot of people in Cheydinhal. I guess we just got unlucky, but we bumped into someone who's actually one of the parts of the quest, which is interesting. We won't be doing it anytime soon, but still interesting. Tell me about Aldous Othran.
Poor fellow. You may be able to find him roaming the streets of Cheydinhal, probably drunk. Only a month ago he lost his wife. They were traveling the road from the Imperial City when a bandit raiding party struck. He barely escaped alive. Ever since then he's been drunk. Sure, he gets rowdy sometimes, but he's never hurt anyone.
That's kind of harsh. By the guards, like giving him all of those fines, kicking him out of his house just a month after he lost his wife. That's pretty poor sports from those guards, I have to say. Tell me about Ulrich.
I don't know where the Count found him, but I sure wish he'd send him back. He's a menace to this town.
Alright.
Garrus may be our only hope.
Alright, well, nice chatting with you, Levana. We'll see where that quest leads us at some point. But for now, we've got to go back to our assassin mentor and let him know that we just killed some. Alright, Vicente apparently is somewhere here.
I've been meaning to speak with you.
Yes, sister.
So is it true about your latest contract? The girl's nanny was actually a Fighters Guild bodyguard?
Oh, my cities, what a night that was. Reminded me of the time you and I raided that traveling carnival. Ah, now that takes me back.
I'm just glad to know you came out of it all unscathed. Not that I doubted your abilities, but you know me. I worry.
All right then. I guess I should get back to my duties. I should be around later. We'll talk.
Sithis be with you, brother. So good to see you.
Interesting.
Is there anything you
I don't know if that dialogue's unique to the Antoinette Marie and Tainava, or if it's just any Dark Brotherhood members could have that conversation topic, but still very interesting. So I guess sometimes you don't know the full extent to what your target is. So in this case, a nanny that he was hired to kill, presumably, was actually a Fighters Guild member, which would have made that assignment a lot tougher if you'd have known that. So it's good to find out as much as you can for sure.
Get away from me.
Hey Mirajdar, sorry for annoying you again.
So, the pirate has been eliminated. Excellent. No one will mourn his passing, and Sithis has been appeased. Please accept this black band as your reward. It is a ring whose powers are quite useful to those who value discretion.
Like us. Okay. Black band, fortified light armor 18, security 18, and resist magic 18%. It's pretty good. What have we got at the moment? Eidolon's Egg, Blade and Block, Ring of Lordship, Shield, Resist Disease, Fortified Personality. Man, it is good, but light armor 18 is really good. Resist magic's really good, although what we currently have is like shield 23%, which is a resist everything. And blade 15. Probably more important than a light armor boost. Yeah, I prefer how it is at the moment. But it's a very nice, it's still a very, very good reward. Worth a lot of money as well if you want to sell it. I, however, would prefer to keep it. But yeah, that's the quest complete. But I suppose while we're down here, let's get our next contract from Vicente.
I'm glad you've returned. The contract is waiting, if you're ready.
Rubens?
The Count of...
Yeah, you told us that one. What is our contract?
We need you to stage an accident. Kill the target in the manner specified, and you'll receive a considerable bonus. Do you accept this contract?
Yeah.
As I expected. Good. The target is a wood elf named Bainlin. You will find him at his home in Bruma. Enter secretly and avoid his manservant, Grom. On the second floor is a secret door leading to a crawl space. Inside are the fastenings of a mounted head that hangs over Bainlin's favorite chair. Loosen those fastenings any night between 8 p.m. and 11 p.m., and the head will surely fall on Bainlin as he relaxes in his chair, as is his custom. If Bainlin is eliminated in any other manner, or if the manservant Grom is killed, you will forfeit the bonus. Now go, and may Sithis be with you.
Interesting. Those were some very specific instructions that we got there. So whoever wanted Bainlin killed was very intimately familiar with the details of his house and when he would sit down, and the fact that there is something's head that was like loose and could be like dropped on his head or something. So that's interesting.
Every moment that Bainlin draws breath is an affront to Sithis and the Night Mother. Fulfill the contract and honor the Brotherhood as you should.
As I will. I just wanted to ask if you had any more information, as you yourself told me to get.
You are to travel to Bruma, into the house of the wood elf Bainlin, and kill him. It should look like an accident. I'm sure you can handle it.
Okay, so nothing new.
Spill some blood for me, dear brother.
Will you help me this time?
You again. I have it.
No, you will not help me.
Foul-smelling ape.
Yo, shut up, fun. Alright. Alright, we'll leave for now. And then in the next episode we'll come back and get the intel from our brothers and sisters before doing the mission. Let's make sure nobody catches us. Alright, let's head back to base and drop all of the stuff we got.
Yes?
Hello, Niels. And we'll drop our stuff off. A lot of cutlasses. Can start our own band of pirates. I mean, we already have a band of pirates. We have Dunbarrow Cove, don't we? We can hand them those cutlasses, but hopefully they have better ones. Maybe we only need 10 of these max. Why am I keeping cheap wine here? Oh yeah, so many cloths weighing us down. Okay, there we go. Alright, we'll wrap up the episode there. Definitely went a lot longer than I thought this one was going to be, but we ran into so many new books, so we did a lot of reading. Got some skills up as well. And yeah, it was an interesting quest. Although I guess it would have been more interesting if there were like pirates like on the ship. But they'd already been killed at some point before. So we didn't really need to sneak onto the ship using the crates, but when an opportunity comes to sneak into a ship, you sneak into a ship. So we did that. We managed to kill the captain, Gaston Tussaud, and all of his henchmen. Got ourselves a little bit of treasure. Got the black band, a very nice ring as a reward. And we've accepted our next quest as well, where we have to find Bainlin in Bruma and make his death look like an accident. And that's what we'll be doing in the next episode. So I must go to the city of Bruma, find Bainlin's house, and gain entrance. Once inside, I should stage a tragic accident. This should be fun. But for now, guys, I hope you've enjoyed the episode, and I hope to see you soon. But for now, have a good day, and see you later.